Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Have you ever noticed how many people want to give you advice and tell you how to run your business, and many of them are unemployed or on welfare? Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a patriot to call in with our Pledge of Allegiance. Come on, give me a call. And a good morning to you and yours. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the ranch in our studio high atop the 32nd floor, and welcoming you to the program with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best in tires and, of course, the best in service. Also, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have a real patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I loved it. It gave me shivers up my back. Good job there, Rod. Appreciate you, man. Have a great day. God bless you. Right now, it's time for the...
Bless America.
Thank you, my dear friend. Appreciate it. Time for the weather, brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn, right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. Man, you can't miss them. I mean, they're obvious to see. If you can't see them, then you shouldn't be driving. Anyway, you get a hold of them today. They've got the best of tools and equipment, and they've got it for both long and short-term rental. Please get a hold of Roger and the crew today, and they'll help you. Believe me, they'll help you. And the number to call if you have questions before you drive over, 678-3122, K&R Rental. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
A little chilly this morning, but as we make our way towards the afternoon, it's not going to be too bad. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Partly cloudy skies for today. We are expecting a high of about 36, and for these morning hours, be prepared to scrape your windshield. For tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 13. By Thursday, sunshine, high of 40, overnight low of 13. And as we take a sneak peek at the weekend, looks like sunshine and highs are going to be in the low 40s. And that's look at your weather for Zeb at the ranch.
Doesn't sound too bad. I'll take a whole winter full of that kind of weather. And the weather brought to you this morning by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn, like I said, on the Burley-Paul Highway. And they've got all the equipment you need. Check it out for both, like I said, long and short-term rental. Any kind of a project, they've got the tools at K&R Rental, 678-3122. Good morning to everybody, and we're going to take our first call momentarily, but I want to remind everybody, too, about our dear friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Good morning, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, and the number to call, 678-0459. They have all, underline the word all, it is really true, all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. I urge you to stop in or call 678-0459. Their location, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. They're open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. Ramsey Heating and Electric. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
My friend.
You know, for some reason, we do not win those 2 seats in Georgia, all is not lost, because there is one Democratic senator that will step forward, and that is Joe Manchin. This guy has always been a straight shooter.
Well, I disagree with you, and I do it respectfully. And I think that, yes, all will be lost for at least 2 years up until 2022, and when there's going to be the elections for the House and senatorial positions, etc. But I absolutely disagree with you because it's Joe Manchin is not a army unto himself, and he's going to have a lot of power plays within his party and minimization of what he can do or say. And if the Democrats win those 2 senatorial positions in Georgia, I'm scared. I am really scared because I see where we're going to lose the filibuster. I think, honestly, within a matter of months, there will be a paper out saying they want to bring D.C. and Puerto Rico in as states. I just am so afraid, Keith, that with the absolute, underline that word, absolute power of the Democrats, we are going to suffer.
I know exactly what you're talking about. But Joe Manchin, I've kind of followed him along here the last few years, and he has always leaned towards the Republican side. And he's been asked, why don't he just become a Republican? And he says, because I think I can do more good by being where I'm at.
Well, if you'll think back, and I can show you and prove to you that it was said on this program many times, I, in the last election, said that I was hoping before all the names were taken out of the hat and they had like 16, 17 candidates standing up on the stage for the Democratic possible nominees, I said, and you'll remember this, I'm sure, I hope that Joe Manchin is one of the people up there, because I've always had, and I'm not saying this just to feather your nest, but I've always had respect for him and his overall outlook on how things should be done. He's one of very few on the left side of the aisle that I have respect for.
That is very well said, and that's exactly my sentiments, is that he really is a great man, and I think we should give him credit for what he does. But for some reason, he feels like he should stay where he's at, but he will, if it comes right down to where we have a tie or whatever, I think he will rule with us.
Well, I can only hope that you're right. I'm not going to arbitrate with you, because I can only hope that you're right, because if these 2 very, very dark, sinister candidates from the Democratic Party, Ossoff and the other one that I can't even remember the name, nor do I care to, win, they are very heavily leaning left toward socialism and the squad-type politics, and it scares me, Keith. It really does.
Yeah. When are we going to wake up to the word socialism? It's communism. It's communism. And it's just a kind way of putting it.
Well, there is no kind way to talk about either of those particular words, because they shouldn't even be in the vocabulary of the United States citizens in a free society, the greatest society ever in the world's history. And why in the world dolts, people that are not real smart, and that's the way I'm going to state it, want to prefer communism/socialism over what we have in this great country? They are completely... I'm going to leave it there. Never mind. I'm so frustrated this morning with the chain of events that are going on, and I've got to do some commercial breaks, but every single day, and I'll miss you if you don't call, you always break the ice. Thanks, Keith. God bless you, man. Thanks.
In this particular case, I say we're neutral.
What do you mean, neutral? What do you mean?
No losers.
Nah, there's always a winner and a loser. We're both on the same team this time. We both won this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Don't forget Denny's Restaurant at 611 North Overland in Burley. Oh, good eating for you, the family, your friends, Aunt Martha, Uncle Fred, Grandma and Grandpa, everybody at Denny's Restaurant. Yes, they've got the most delicious of food choices on their menu. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, desserts. Oh, my. When you pick up that menu and you start studying it, you're going to go, I'll take this, and this, and this. Well, you can't take everything, but I'm telling you what, it's going to be a hard choice. Food is delicious at America's Diner. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. I urge you to stop in and see those good folks today. Also, I want to give a shout out to some other people that have been on our program now for quite some time, and they were doing some work for us, I don't know, two and a half years ago or so. And I said to them, I said, boy, I'd sure like to have you folks on my radio program. And they've been here ever since. Dino's Septic Service. I really applaud them for their service to almost all of southern Idaho. And they've got the new, most modern of equipment. I mean, they've got those cameras that go down into the pipes and then say, voila, we have found the problem. And I urge you to call them today. Dino's Septic Service, septic tank pumping, sewer and sink drain lines cleaned, water and sewer lines installed, all of this and so much more. Call them at 436-6526 or in Burley at 678-1638. Twin Falls, good morning, 735-8281. The best. Dino's Septic Service. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Yesterday, I believe it was Keith that mentioned about fuel prices going up and everything, and I drove around a little bit yesterday because I had to do some errands, and he's right. I mean, I saw $3 diesel yesterday. I saw $2.45 gas. And I thought to myself, and I'm going to be very blunt because I don't have any gasoline sponsors on my radio program, this is gouging. It's gouging. The national average for unleaded right now is $2.16 a gallon, and I saw signs of $2.45, $2.43. Getting the gouge in early before Lurch Kerry. That's what I'm going to call him from now on. He reminds me of Lurch from the Addams Family. Lurch Kerry has the opportunity to send energy costs spiraling out of sight. We are all of us, whether you're a senior citizen or whether you just got out of high school and you're working or trying to save enough money to go to college, we are all going to feel the pain at the pump with much more of our hard-earned money going into the gas tank. And you can thank that hard-earned money frivolously going into the gas tank to the Democrats and particularly this supposed new administration of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris with their energy czar, Lurch Kerry. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I came to Magic Valley in September of 71. And gas price was $23.9 at Maverick.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the so-called energy crisis, about 72, 73, right in that neighborhood. And all of a sudden, there was a so-called energy crisis that, gas prices zoomed up. It was a distribution energy deal.
Mm-hmm.
And in other words, each station would get so many gallons. And I knew the guy that had the Chevron tank farm out here southwest of Twin Falls, and I knew the guy in Burley that was in charge of the tank farm there. They were full. And then my father-in-law in Cheyenne, Wyoming, had breakfast with the head refiner at Husky Oil. They were full. And so this energy thing, Zeb, thank God to fracking now and so forth, because but that that's all they're gonna try to have that all come to an end.
Yes.
And energy prices, I think the most I ever did pay a discount was $4.17.
Well, let me jump in here for a minute, Adrian, because I got calls stacked up and I've got to really go. I agree with you totally, but I made a prediction the other day, and I'm going to stand behind my prediction that by the year from now, exactly on this date, we will be paying for unleaded gasoline very, very close to $4 a gallon.
I wouldn't be surprised, and of course we'll be dependent on our enemies for our fuel supplies again. And it's just, and this whole deal, they want to go green energy, solar is just not going to work. Wind doesn't blow all the time. Certainly the sun this time of year, we only have 9 hours of sunlight, and so that doesn't work either. And neither one of those are sustainable. The cost of upkeep and the initial cost, it takes 50 years to pay for those.
Well, I know. I've got to run, but I want to say this. I think if they're going to rely upon wind power, what they ought to do is get a cardboard cutout of John Kerry and stick it up on every hill. He is blowing hard every day of something he knows nothing about.
I like that. That's good, Zeb, because, yeah, they're just full of hot air.
God bless you.
The whole global warming thing, of course, is a hoax. You and I know that. And, again, I'll just reiterate for the people out there, carbon dioxide is not killing the planet. I'm a plant scientist and guarantee you our plants are starved for carbon dioxide at 410 parts per million. But if you put it in terms of a 100,000-seat football stadium, our atmosphere, carbon dioxide only gets 41 seats.
I got to run.
How ludicrous the whole global warming thing is.
I agree with you. God bless you. Have a good day. Appreciate it. I got a spot, and then I've got a call waiting. Caller, stand by. I'll be right with you. Don't forget your home is the one place where everything should be perfect, including your air. Ramsey Heating and Electric helps you achieve the perfect air you deserve. Get a hold of them today, Ramsey Heating and Electric, and check out a Lennox home comfort system that'll help improve your health. Don't forget, call them at 678-0459 or visit Ramsey'sOnline.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Caller, I'm sorry to hold you up. Go ahead, please.
Yes, good morning. Am I on?
You better be.
Okay, we went to Twin yesterday, Zeb, and we filled our tank, and it cost us $1.99 a gallon. I looked at the prices around town. I thought it was completely ridiculous what I seen.
Mm-hmm.
I come to Burley, and it was, again, 20 cents more a gallon here than it was at the highest price place I've seen in Twin.
Yeah. I mean, the fluctuation in the prices, and don't give me the 30-mile difference on the pipeline and all that other garbage. I'm sick of listening to idiocy. $2.45 I saw at a couple of locations for gas, $3 for diesel. I mean, gouge. That's all it is, and we're going to see much more of it.
Well, there should be something done. I think it's corrupt what they're doing. It just makes me not want to do business with the stations in Burley at all. Even if I had to pay way less here than I do in Twin, the way they've gouged us through the year, I don't even feel I want to fill here.
I am really starting to feel a great sympathy. I'm a senior citizen myself, same as you or many like us. And everybody thinks, whoa, boy, you got all kinds of money. You got a radio program and everything else. No, I've got basically a fixed income budget that I live off of. And if you take $2 gas, let's say, and double it to $4, holy smokes, that takes a lot out of my budget that I don't have budgeted for right now for this next fiscal year. And for people that are on fixed incomes, trying to get the kids through school, buy new shoes, take them to a movie every now and then, go to their soccer or baseball practices, it's going to be absolutely ridiculous.
Zeb, I'm sorry I can't hear what you're saying.
Well, that's all right. I appreciate it.
Say back to you.
All right, Jerry, thank you.
The air, you have a blessed day. May the Lord bless you. and your whole audience.
I appreciate it, Jerry. Thank you very much. I don't know why he couldn't hear, but we'll go from there. Jerry's a good friend. Don't forget Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. All right, on the square, you know they've got a delicious restaurant. You'll never leave there hungry, let me tell you that. You know they've got a delicious bakery with the cookies, the pies, the breads, the muffins, the cakes, everything. Oh, I can attest to it. It's delicious. Be sure and remember, every Monday we give away a dozen cookies to Sophie's Chatterbox on the square in Rupert. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. About a few months back, I had called the fairgrounds to see what it would cost to get some patriotic movement down there in an area where we could get a whole bunch of people. Well, they said, well, we're all booked up for this and for that and for the other thing. You know, the priorities of people today, it's all about money and not about the security of the country. We have got MS-13, we got the drug dealers, and we've got those two of the outfits burning our cities down, and we've got the terrorist organizations just waiting for the word to make their movement. Why can't people see what in the heck is going on and demand to put a stop to this stuff so where the American citizens, like you and I, are able to turn ourselves loose and put a stop to this crap?
Tony, I can't answer your question. I mean, you are a dear friend and have been for a long time. And I'm going to look at you when I see you face to face, and I'm going to say again, I can't answer your question. I don't know why a very dangerous and a very deadly group like Black Lives Matter is allowed to flourish with the likening to Marxist policies, communistic policies, hate the police, defund the police. I don't know why they exist. I don't know why they flourish, even in small-town America, like Kimberly, Idaho, and other locations, and even on the campuses of our colleges here in the state of Idaho. I don't know why people are so, and I'm going to be very blunt, dumb, and they can't understand what Black Lives Matter group is trying to do.
Well, then we got a lot of the people, they adore overpaid prima donnas on the football, the basketball, and baseball, and they don't give a damn that our cities are being burned down.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they're more concerned about what LeBron James might say rather than what's happening on the world leadership scale of who's mad at us, who might start a nuclear war. I mean, it's idiocy. LeBron James has the IQ of a bicycle spoke, and here he is, a multimillionaire because of his athletic prowess, and now all of a sudden, because he's a multimillionaire because of basketball, they hold him on a high pedestal like he's some kind of a brainiac that's a professor at Harvard.
I can't understand why we can't get enough people together to become a powerful unit and get something done. I mean, a lot of people are listening to your program and getting energized about what's going on, but it's almost impossible to get people to bring together to do something.
I agree. I wished I had an answer for you, because I'm going to do all I can for as long as I can. And I'm getting up to that point in my life where, and I don't mean to sound crass when I say this, but I'm going to be thinking a lot more about my wife and I than I am about other people and other conditions and this radio program. But I'm going to do all I can while I'm here.
Well, you just keep on going, because if there's any way that we can all join forces for what you're doing, we'll get it done.
All right, Tony. God bless you and Mary. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. Caller, I'll be right there. I've got to pay some bills, Barry Equipment and Rental, Sales, Service, and Parts, and they do have all the Bobcats, all the shapes and sizes. They've got all the trenchers and the scissor lifts. They've got all the equipment for the lifting, the digging, the pushing, the carrying. Oh, yeah, they got the Doosan wheel loaders and the excavators, and they've got low-rate financing and excellent lease programs. Oh, I don't know why you're waiting. You better get over there today. 3 locations, and they're ready to serve you. And if you don't know how to work the equipment or run the equipment, they've got sandboxes out behind. They'll teach you. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location for Berry Equipment and Rental. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning again. You know, it's wonderful that this country is energy free. I mean free, because, you know, all your petroleum dealers, not dealers, but producers, are doing all they can to furnish us with all the petroleum we need. There's somebody in between us that is trying to stifle us, and we know who it is. But what can we do?
Well, I just don't understand. Keith, you're a little older than I am, so use your sage experience and your wise gray hair and explain to me why, if we're energy independent right now, and we don't hold a comeuppance to anybody. I mean, we can help and supply all we need, plus help other people, other countries. Why would you want to discard that, throw it away, and develop an energy program that is not reliable, it's not cost-effective, and it is absolutely not going to work in the short time span that these idiots on the left are promoting?
Yeah, it's truly the enemy within that is our problem. But what can we do? I mean, they're getting larger in numbers. You know, this is how some people are thinking right now. If they keep raising the price of gasoline, then I'm going to buy an electric car.
Yeah.
No, that's not the answer.
Yeah.
But that's what they're trying to push us into. And I don't know who or where or how we can settle this.
Well, you know, it's easy to talk about up and down the highway, up and down the road, taking your kids to school on an electric car, etc. And they don't look at the forest behind the one tree that's blinding them. What about our agricultural programs for tractors and combines, everything else? What about major transportation intersecting with all the states in this United States to get the goods and services? Where are the trucks with those big batteries? I mean, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and others of her ilk absolutely are stupid people that should never have been elected to a public office because they are not smart enough to do the job.
You know, Zeb, the coal industry is really getting a bum rap because they've got that clean now so that there's very little emission.
Absolutely.
But that's how we make electricity.
Yes.
Cool.
And I point my finger at Idaho Power the same way.
Don't do any more hydro anymore, and they're shutting down our coal plants.
I agree. Idaho Power, in my estimation, basically they're cowards because they have been invited on this program numerous times and they won't show up or come on the program. That, to me, extends a cowardly sign that they say they don't want to talk about the issues. They're going green with their solar and their wind, and they won't answer questions that are tough questions. They're the same as Biden. They're hiding from the press that wants to ask legitimate questions, and Idaho Power, very much of a coward.
You know, the one question I have, and this is really going to get under your skin, is these windmills that you see on your way to Burley. You know, if they were privately owned and everything, they could easily see that without their subsidies, they would be gone.
I'd like to see every I'm going to get yelled at. I don't care. I'd like to see every windmill malfunction and absolutely stop, cease, and not be able to work. I think they're absolutely heinous on the landscape. I hate looking at them. I hate what they do to the vista of a beautiful state like Idaho. I can't stand them. How can I be much more clear?
Well, you know, there's a place between here and Pocatello that has their own little windmill of their own, and they generate their electricity. But they're being fought on every angle. You can't have it privately. You can't put up a windmill at your place. I don't know that you knew that or not.
Not that I was ever interested. I got to run, Keith. I got another call, but your call is always appreciated. Thank you. God bless you, man. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, sir.
Bye.
Woo! Got me and the audience started on this one. Good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. To elaborate on how hypocritical those windmills are, I have seen where some videos that have shown where some of them have just exploded while they were running.
Really?
Yes. If you look up on YouTube, you'll see some videos that show some windmills catching fire and spewing black smoke as they burn up.
You know, talk about that for a minute, because on my driving up to Boise is a good example. When I look off to the west and I see nothing but these absolutely silly, frivolous cancer sticks, sometimes with their propellers moving, and it just takes away from the grandeur and the beauty and the vista of our state. I hate them. I don't want anything to do with them, and I'd like every one of them to all of a sudden go, oops, and tip over.
Yeah, or at least catch fire.
Well, there we've wished all the bad luck on them we can. Rod, thanks for your call. Appreciate it, buddy.
I will say this: they're an eyesore, and I, for one, despise each and every one of them.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you very much. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd like to ask you about the Biden cabinet picks. We'll talk about that after we take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
My friend.
If the public would research and see the carbon footprint it takes to build one of these,
Yep.
and the cost it takes to build one of these, and the oil it takes to build one of these, then they would look at that and say, wait a minute, this is a bigger carbon footprint than it's trying to erase.
And where does that carbon footprint, especially on the solar, where does that carbon footprint walk back to?
China.
Oh, gee.
And a lot of it on the windmills, too.
Yes.
A lot of that is shipped over from China.
Yes. You know, we're aiding and abetting another country that absolutely has a goal. And it's not just a long-term goal. It's a 3, 5, 7, and 10-year goal to take over the world and absolutely be the supreme ruler, and that's China.
And they are getting closer and closer to it with these Green New Deals and these Democrat socialists, which, you know, you'll see more socialists in a Democrat suit than you will see, what was that saying? I'm sorry. My mind went blank.
Oh, I have that problem too, but I get your point. The point is, with the Biden administration, we're going to see a kissy-kissy, hug-hug, we love you, oh, you're so wonderful attitude to China. And I don't trust China. I don't trust its leaders. And I'm going to come right out and say it with all the people I've had on this program that are experts in their field. I believe that the release of the Chinese virus was absolutely planned, timed, and hurtful because they wanted it to be that way.
Exactly, and have you noticed how China has recovered without a vaccine?
Gee, yes.
Think about that.
I have. I do not like them, I do not trust them, and I know that we're going to have some bleeding heart liberal in the audience saying, oh, Zeb Bell condemned the Chinese people, well, he's racist, etc. No, I am condemnation. I'm in complete condemnation and hatred of the Chinese government.
Yes. Yes, the communist people of China. It's not the people in China that are the bad.
That's right.
It is the people ruling China.
You know, I get so sick, and I got to tell you this, Doug. I get so sick and tired, even here. I get calls from all over the country that listen on the internet and everything. You're a racist! You're a racist! Oh, they can't even find the definition of racist in the dictionary because they can't spell it.
Well, there's a lot of low information voters out there that just rely on either social media or
the mainstream media to get their news, but they're just headline readers. They do not research a subject. They do not read through the article. And this is a big problem in America.
My God, that's right.
That's why we're at where we're at.
Yep.
And
that's why Biden got elected.
Oh, he got elected because some people paid people off to get him in there.
Absolutely. High tech. High tech, man. Let's call it like it is. You take, I don't care if it's Google, I don't care if it's Facebook, I don't care if it's anything like that with high tech. They absolutely swayed this election. I pray and I hope that there's some way that the Trump administration can be found correct on any and all the voting, and he is reinstated in the White House. I don't want anything to do with a Biden-Harris administration.
Exactly. And Zuckerberg, how many millions, hundreds of millions he put into these voting places where he paid for the people to count the votes, where he paid for the property that was done on, paid the rent. And this truck driver hauling ballots from New York to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, just a minute. I know we got a call waiting. And caller, don't get disenfranchised. We'll be with you in just a second. But 280,000 ballots. Oh, my. And then somebody said, well, how come they came from New York State into Pennsylvania? And then a lot of people that are in control of the election said, with a very blank look on their face, I don't know.
Yeah. There needs to be heads roll on this. But this thing is way deeper than a lot of people think.
Better believe it. It is a pool without cement on the bottom, and you don't know where the bottom is.
I know it. And for them to be exposed, they're going to do a lot of bad things to keep from being exposed. So America better get ready.
Well, we all better get ready, and I mean that in every facet of the word. Hey, Doug, quick, I've got another call. They've been so patient, and I got to get the weather, too, so go ahead.
All righty, everybody. It's the Christmas season. It's Jesus' birthday, and we celebrate it by giving each other gifts. Let's put the senior citizen centers, put them under your tree with a small gift, and go eat there and leave with a full tummy and a full
Love it. Love it. Love that, Doug. Always appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. Caller, you've been so patient. I'll do your call before the weather. Go ahead, please. Are you there?
I am here. Sorry, I muted you, Sue. I didn't bother you. It's Khalees. How are you this morning?
I am good, Khalees. I've got to ask you to hurry because I'm way behind on time. Go ahead, please.
No problem. This windmill subject is a whole other subject. I didn't realize we had a windmill plant going up just north of us.
Well, there's going to be a
Lava Ridge project. Does anybody know? Do you know anything about that?
Well, I'll tell you what, you're going to be seeing so many more projects come into and onto the state of Idaho. And as Biden said a long time ago when he was being interviewed, that he is going to see that we see literally millions and millions more of the wind turbines and millions and millions and millions more of the solar panels. And my question is simply this: how are you going to get the land? How is it going to be feasible to construct all that at a cost that's going to be enormous? And the money goes back into China's pocket, by the way. And why should we do this kind of a cost factor when we already have a very reliable, efficient, cost-efficient energy program right now? This is lunacy.
I had no idea we had one coming in locally. That was my big shock.
Yeah. Well, I got your email. And I really am interested in helping any way I can. Call me after the program. Give me a little time to cool down because I got to have a little time to kind of sit there and go after this program's over. So give me a call. I want to talk to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you much. Appreciate it. We got to go to the weather. And the weather brought to you by our dear friends at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Don't forget, hearing affects every aspect of your life. I mean, you go someplace and people say something, you go, what? excuse me, what'd you say? Or you got the grandkids over and they say something, you go, hey, speak louder, Johnny, I can't hear you. Well, then you better make an appointment at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. They're right behind the Minidoka County Hospital, across from the emergency room. And the number to call, 312-0957. That number again, 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Right now, here's the lovely Gina with the weather.
A little chilly this morning, but as we make our way towards the afternoon, it's not going to be too bad. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Partly cloudy skies for today. We are expecting a high of about 36, and for these morning hours, be prepared to scrape your windshield. For tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 13. By Thursday, sunshine, high of 40, overnight low of 13. And as we take a sneak peek at the weekend, looks like sunshine and highs are going to be in the low 40s. And that's look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Not bad, not bad. And the weather brought to you this hour by folks that can really customize your hearing health, and they treat you as an individual. They know what you need. They can help you, and I urge you, with all the latest in technology, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, please don't put it off. Your hearing health is extremely important. Call them for an appointment today, 312-0957. You know, something was said the other day by Barack Obama, a man that you will not find me saying anything good about, but he was being interviewed, and I believe it was by CBS's Scott Pelley, and they were talking about how Barack Obama could possibly, now, I'm not making this up, I saw parts of the interview, about how Barack Obama could be basically involved in a third term of his beliefs. And the question was up that he would like to be behind a curtain. And he'd like to be like a puppeteer and pulling the strings and being able to whisper in their ears what people can do. And I sat there and I thought, well, you're already doing that with the Biden and Harris administration. This is nothing more than a furtherance of Barack Obama and his sick, didn't work programs for the United States. And you can see this in the so-called picks that are going on for the Biden cabinet. I mean, we're looking at another nothing more than just calling up the old Obama cabinet people and thoughts and philosophy and saying, come on in. I'm really concerned that a lot of the basis of picking for their cabinet is based on people's skin color and their sexual preferences. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm sure that there's going to be somebody out there that has the IQ of a hockey puck that's going to accuse me of being racist again. But when you start developing leadership for the number one country in the world, the United States of America, hold on, caller, I'll be right there. And you're developing leadership for the number one country in the world, and instead of getting people with quality and knowledge and ability, and you're basing your selections on skin color and sexual preference, we're on the road to hell. Caller, good morning, you're on the air.
You know, it was just a short time ago we heard the words shadow government, and now we've got it.
I can't argue with that. I agree. I agree.
Because Obama is going to stand back there and, like you said, pull them puppet strings, and these people are going to march right down that road to socialism.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's
going to be back in the background where nobody can touch him.
There you go. He is going to be the puppeteer. He is going to be the quarterback calling the plays. He is going to be the man on the sidelines that directing all the activity. You can bet your bottom dollar on it. And by the way, we might all be with our bottom dollar with this absolutely heinous and scary administration. And here's the deal, Keith, you know as well as I do that Joe Biden is not going to fulfill his term as presidency, and it's going to be Kamala Harris. Harris. She is going to be sitting there with her smug, arrogant, sarcastic look on her face and giggling and laughing and not knowing what in the heck to do. And therein is the problem, because open the door in the closet, and who's standing there but Barack Obama himself?
Yeah, and there was some candidates in the Democratic Party that could do a much, much better job than Joe.
Oh, absolutely.
Or anything, but Barack Obama didn't think he could control them. He can control Joe because he had him as the vice president, and he marched right down the line.
Yeah, bet your life. I mean, get in lockstep, boys. Put your wooden heel shoes on and go to work. I couldn't agree more. Keith, God bless you for your call. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Oh, I'm frustrated. I just do not want anything to do with this Biden-Harris administration. Oh, there's people in the audience right now that are saying, well, he was duly elected, and I'm going to look him in the eye and say, I can't use that word on the radio. I'm just going to say, bunk. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, if you start making a list of all the things that we need to be concerned about, Obama, for one, running behind the scenes, but you see Obama is being controlled, too. I mean, the ruling elite who are hidden, and then the rest of the leaders of the world who are openly in favor of Biden, and especially China. It's a scenario for disaster, and like they say, we just can't allow the American people to think that they have, rights and freedoms and God-given rights and the right to pursue happiness and be independently,
Hold on a minute. Right there, I'm going to stop you and ask you a question. The right to have the pursuit of happiness. How do you find happiness? How do you get in your car and pursue happiness and do what you want to do and go after your dreams when you're absolutely stymied by a government that has complete control over your pocketbook and everything you do?
Well, that's the thing, see? The fact that they had us, and they had us down. They had their foot on our neck, and Hillary was going to take over and continue to slowly but surely squeeze the life out of us. And then we had Mr. Trump come into office, who we thought was put in there by divine intervention. And so, yeah, there's no way. The thought of where we could head, the thought of where we could go is so frightening that I don't even have the will to think about it. It's just like, when I hear people saying that the Biden is the president-elect, I say, well, maybe it ain't over with yet.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't say that. Maybe we shouldn't think that. But I tell you, if we make a list of all the things that could start to come back down on our head, when we watched it in 08 through 16 with Obama, I remember how depressed people were,
Yep.
how worried they were,
Yep.
the price of gas.
Yep.
Nobody was, going anywhere. Everybody was hunkering down. Everybody in America, a whole bunch of them were going up to the Bakken oil fields in North Dakota.
That's right.
They had no choice.
That's right. I got to run, Randy, but I certainly appreciate your analogy on this. But I'm telling you what, right now, I'm going to stand up in front of the world and say, please, Mr. Trump, do not give up the fight. There's got to be a way to prove this election was totally false. Thank you, Randy.
Right, and he owes it to us to continue to lead us, whatever the case may be, because there needs to be some real opposition and pressure on our elected officials, senators and congressmen.
Amen. Amen, buddy. I want to thank our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. And boy, I mean, this time of the year, they're really busy. Changing tires and getting you ready for winter driving. I know we're blessed with a forecast that sounds pretty good for the next couple of days. But all of a sudden, bam, we're going to get hit, and you'd better be prepared. And you better be prepared also, not only with the tires that they have for you, but also the brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this on top of the best of service. You better believe it. Stop in and see James in Buell, Dan on Pole Line in Twin Falls, Lane in Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, the Twist family in Paul, and my buddy Trent on Overland in Burley. Nobody better. Your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. We're going to come back next hour with Dave Bego, and then we've got a man that really knows the stock market, and that's Scott Garlis is going to be on the air. 10:06, we've got renowned author David Horowitz going to be on the program, and then at 10:30, Jason Hayes. Very interesting. You don't want to miss that segment. We're going to send it back over to our main studio. I'll be back in 7 minutes. Good morning and welcome back. Hour number 2 on this Wednesday, and we're very glad to have you with us and our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations with the best in tires and also the best in service to you. Along with our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. We're going to have this good word for Western Waste, and we'll be right back.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're all at the Georgia Circle. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this free land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at Georgia Circle. Western Waste Services.
I'll tell you what, you are probably going up into the attic and getting all the Christmas decorations, and you moved this box, that box, and you said, we don't need this. Well, maybe you'd better get a dumpster from Western Waste Services and throw it away. That's right, fill up that dumpster. They'll bring it out to you. You fill it up, they'll come and get it. Absolutely, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services. Call them at 734-6969. I want to take just a moment, too, and remind you about our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox Products. And I mean the great Lennox home comfort systems that'll help improve your air health in your home. Check it out today. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric, and the number 678-0459. Or you can visit them, ramseysonline.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Ramsey Heating and Electric. We all need to be fit as a fiddle and ready to take on the world, and I'll tell you what, 2 businesses, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, and Elite Fitness at 1200 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Nick Greenwell is the lead man for both of those businesses, and he's got an excellent staff at both locations. I mean, if you're aching and paining and recuperating, go and see our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Number to call, 678-1191. Or if you want to stay in shape, they've got great fitness programs at Elite Fitness, 1200 Oakley Avenue in Burley. One more good word. Dave's probably chomping on the bit, but I'll tell you what, our thanks go out to a very, very nice man, his family and his staff at Hanson Mortuary. I'm talking about Joel Heward, and they're located at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Don't forget, when there's the passing of a loved one, they are there to help you and provide the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort, and always, always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. I urge you to write the number down and remember it, 436-5636, Hanson Mortuary in Rupert. And Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. I mentioned in my blog last week how thankful I am to have and I use the term stable of guests that are available every week to come on my program and do some political analyzing as to what's going on or not going on. This man is one of my favorites, and he's in Indianapolis, Indiana. Good morning, Dave Bego.
Good, and thank you for acknowledging that in your cow pies and coffee cups, and I also liked your one from November 20th when you really went after the left and what they're doing. So I appreciate what you're doing.
You know, let me ask you this. I just heard on the news, and Sean, there's a little feedback here if you'd help me on that. I just heard on the news that I think it's in Phoenix. I didn't catch all of it. I was running back into my studio. Running, that's a kind of an oxymoron for me. But I was coming back into the studio, and Phoenix is imposing a curfew, a COVID curfew, from 10 at night till 5 a.m. in the morning. If I were a citizen of that town right now or that area, I would absolutely defy it. I would fight it. I would do everything I could to say no, because I am not going to be subjected to being locked in my home, locked on my property, told where I can go, when I can go, etc. This is not the America I grew up in, Dave Bego.
Well, I agree with you, but the problem is, and it's sad about Arizona, is that a lot of Californians moved out of California and they moved to Texas and Arizona, and the ones that moved to Arizona are taking over some of the politics that they're why you're seeing these things in Arizona, and it's really sad. And you would think these people that moved out of California because they were tired of what's going on in California and how the state was run and all that would wake up and move from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party and do the right thing.
Amen. Very well stated. Okay, I'm going to say this, and of course you're I said in the blog that you're kind of the cool hand Luke, but I'm not. I'm a firecracker with a short fuse, and I'm proud of it. That's my personality, and I'm not going to change it. I absolutely want Mr. Donald Trump not to give up the fight because I want him as president. I do not, or will I accept Biden and Harris as the new administration. Go ahead and yell at me.
No, I agree with you, Zeb, and I'm, it's kind of sad. It seems like Trump is backing off some and looking at going in another direction. And I think he really has to keep fighting this because, the truth is that. There is a lot of evidence behind the scenes, and he's got to get the right people involved to find it and then go after the left and get this election turned over. And it's sad. The other part of this, though, is sad, is that the Republican Party, a lot of the Republicans in the House and Senate, don't have much of a backbone.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Instead of standing up and looking for ways to defend Trump and find the evidence, stuff like that, like what's going on in Georgia and same with Arizona and other places, they're kind of backing down, saying, okay, we'll just go ahead and say the election results are okay and move on. And it's sad that these people don't have the backbone. And if I got to read you this. I have a friend here in Indianapolis that's about 82 years old, and he this, and he says we must get this message out to the Center for Disease Control and all the labs. The vaccine should be tested on politicians first. If they survive, the vaccine is safe. If they don't, the country is safe. He's kind of funny, but he's like you and me. He gets direct to the point. He wants things turned around and fixed.
Okay, I want to talk to you a little bit about what I see coming. And again, I would expect and respect your attitude if it differs than mine. However, I think you're going to agree. We are looking at nothing more than a continuation of an Obama presidency in a third term. The other night, when I heard Barack Obama be asked by Scott Pelley of CBS if he wishes he could be in control and standing behind the scenes and giving the orders and signals, he said, yes, I wished I could be behind the curtain. I wished I could have them wear an earpiece and listen to me and do as I want them to do. This is nothing more than the Biden-Harris administration. It's a mouthpiece for nothing more than a continuation of the worst president we've ever had, Barack Obama.
Yeah, I agree, and it comes all back, and you even mentioned this in your newsletter that they want to control us, and I've said that many times on your program. This is all about control, and this is what they're trying to do. And the sad thing in the news media, even Fox is starting to turn left, and Rupert Murdoch, who started it all, his son Lachlan has really taken over, and he's more of a leftist, and he's pushing a lot of the conservative news people in Fox out of the business, and they're moving left. And if you listen to a lot of them on there, they're saying Trump ought to just say that the results were fine, and he's lost, and he needs to go away, and stuff like that. And I believe a lot of this, again, is behind the scenes, that the media across the country is controlled by the unions and the far left.
Dave, I want to ask you, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you hire a lot of people, and you employ a lot of people with your business all across the country. Do you hire on skin color and sexual preference, or do you hire on ability?
We hire on ability and good people and good backgrounds and stuff like that. We don't care what color you are or anything like that. We just want good people that work hard and are nice people.
The absolute idiocy, and that's what it is. I'm not going to mince my words. The idiocy of the Biden campaign and the supposed administration picking for their cabinet, and he proudly said this. He's going to base it on skin color and gender and sexual preference. That's not a diverse cabinet. That's a cabinet looking to fail. It's not filled with great people with good ideas and how to make America better and bigger. It's all about diversity, and that's wrong.
Well, yeah, I mean, I believe, Zeb, if you do things the right way and you hire good people and people that work hard and stuff like that, are honest people and that, you're going to have diversity in it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's the thing that you got to look at. I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's like in our corporate headquarters in Indianapolis, we have 3 ladies that clean our building at night, and one's black, one's Hispanic, and the other one but they're nice ladies, and I love seeing them when they come in, because they come in a little early before we tend to start home, and to go down and talk to them, and they're just nice people, and they work hard, and they keep this building very, very clean. And and if there's a problem, they let us know so we can help them out. And it's just, and I think this is the way you have to be throughout the country.
Well, I listened the other day, it's been about 2 weeks now, to Utah new Congressman Burgess Owens, former Super Bowl star with the Raiders, and now in politics, and he said the same thing. There are great people of all skin colors, and if we look for the best people qualified for the job, it's all going to fall in line. But to pick people just on skin color and sexual preference, that is not diversity, that's stupidity.
Yeah, it is, and it's sad, but that's what we've got here. And again, this is the agenda of the far left.
We've got a caller with a comment. Go ahead, caller. Jump in the pool. The water's fine.
Well, it won't be if we elect Biden, but it's the situation, like you say, behind the scenes. Obama's running the show. I mean, what could be more frightening? And so now, if that's what we believe, if we believe that the election's lost, then I can't believe it yet. But then what are we going to do to stop them? Well, okay, we got to win the runoff in Georgia. The Democrats are down there trying to steal it right now, and you say, well, aren't we not smart enough to stop these people? But the governor, the secretary, the attorney general of the state of Georgia are both, there's evidence that they've been bought off by the Chinese. So we got to win the elections in Georgia if we want to try to stop this agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only is China a threat straight out of hell, but the price of fuel, you know, we went 4 years, and it was $2 or under and a little over, and we know it can stabilize and be there. It never has to be $5 a gallon. But you see, right now we need to fight on. There's 75 million people that expect leadership from Donald Trump, whether or not he's elected or not.
Yeah.
He's still going to be there. And every day we need tweets, I guess, whether or not some of them I don't, I wish he would put a little more thought into it. But we need leadership so we continue to fight and have some hope.
I agree. Thank you.
2022. I'll hang up.
I agree. Dave, respond to the caller, please. Dave? I think Are you there, Dave? Go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think he's got a lot of good points in that. And but the thing is the left or the right, the conservatives have to stand up and voice their opinions and get involved in things and help find stuff that's was wrong with this election, and they just help a lot and make sure that Trump and the Republican Party knows that they got to stay strong and keep going after this stuff.
Dave, I want to ask you this, and I know that you are very astute when it comes to politics, business, etc., but have you, since November 3rd, or even prior during the campaign, have you heard Joe Biden answer and explain specifically policies that he is going to try to put forth, whether it's nuclear, whether it's working with North Korea, whether it's working with trade deals with China, whether it's on the infrastructure? Have you heard the man answer one doggone question on policy?
No, he's being very quiet, and he will continue to be that way until he's inaugurated, and then he won't do a whole lot because behind the scenes he's going to be controlled by Obama and his administration and the people that want to succeed him.
What is it about the American public that they have been duped, if it's really a honest election, that they have been duped to buy into a fact that a man stayed in a basement, a man fed his puppy and his goldfish in the basement, and still wins an election without explaining to the American public what he's going to do? This is unbelievable.
Yeah, I know, but again, a lot of these, I still believe that this election is a fraud, and a lot of these things, the voting is not near as high for Biden as what they've shown it to be. But we've got politicians on the right that don't want to stand up because they want to be politicians forever, and so they're ready just to let Biden win and move on, and and the American people are being brainwashed by the media, and we've got to get them to stand up.
Okay, right there you touched on it, and I just want you to explain to me. Both of us basically are also involved in the media. Me more so than a lot of people, and you because you're on my program, you've written books, etc. But the media seems like they're nothing more than a trash compactor of not doing their job and not asking specific questions. I've never seen a media that is so distorted. How do we clean this mess up?
Well, we need to talk to the media and the mainstream media and that, and get them to have some backbone. And the American people need to have some backbone and not allow the left and the unions to go after the advertisers, the media, and not support the advertisers. We got to support the advertisers, and we got to get the media to stand up and do the right thing. And it's tough to do because, again, you got a lot of people in the media that don't have the backbones, and it's sad. And here's the other thing about this election: a Dominion, that was the program
right.
they use for voter. A Dominion contractor drops a bombshell at voter fraud hearing, and he says. And then Sidney Powell claims election fraud witnesses are not doing anything because they're being threatened and beaten up, and this is what the left does.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know how they do it, and that's why we're not getting a lot of the information we need, and these people need to stand up and tell the truth and save America.
Amen. Caller, quickly, you're on the air. I'm down to the last couple of minutes. Go ahead, please.
Yes, the way you would make them tell the truth and be honest and be fair is put a heavy fine every time they put something on the media that is not true.
Okay, we'll have Dave respond to that. What about having kind of an honest truth question and answer period, and if you lie or distort the facts, you're going to pay a $10,000 fine? CNN would go broke overnight.
Yeah, we got to do something to get them back in line and what they're doing, and we need to look at all the alternatives out there that we can to get them back where they need to be, and we need to do it very, very soon.
Dave, what about the small businesses? I heard some reports last night and again at 4 o'clock this morning that almost 200,000, I hope I heard this right, almost 200,000 businesses are not going to be in existence if there's not some kind of help, some kind of a security package bailout from Congress. And I understand from some of the people I talked to yesterday in D.C. that the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, they're sitting on $138 billion that could go to small business aid and assistance, but she won't pass it because she wants an extended $4 trillion to feather the nest of some of her Democratic projects. This is insane.
It is, and it's all about politics and control, and and I've talked to you about this many times. We need term limits, and we need them right away, and we need to get these people out of office that are doing these things. And they can spend a couple of years in office helping America, but then go back to the free market workforce and, work there and grow up there. And that's what we need.
I just wonder how much longer the American public is going to put up with this balderdash. I cleaned it up. And there's not going to be literally people in the streets that are demanding. I mean, when you look at Garcetti in Los Angeles and Newsom up at the State House in Los Angeles or in California, you look at Cuomo in New York, and they've all gone against their edicts, and they're absolutely kind of thumbing their nose at the public. How much longer before the American public says enough is enough, and you're going to see a whole bunch of people parading down the street with pitchforks?
Well, I think it'll be if and when Biden starts moving us towards a communist country and people start losing their lifestyle and, they make less money and they're going to be, homeless and stuff like that. And I think when we start seeing that, but I have to be honest with you, yesterday I drove downtown Indianapolis to go by my grandmother, my dad's mom's apartment where she lived in, and it was sad to see so many businesses that were shut down down in that area, and people that weren't working, and and the American people need to wake up to this is what's going on, and it's going to get worse.
Amen. Dave, I wish you and yours a very, very nice day, and hopefully we'll get together again next week on this show. And it's not too early to say to you and your family a very, very Merry Christmas, and thank you for being a part of our program. Dave Bego, Indianapolis, Indiana, thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Zeb, and very, very Merry Christmas to you and all your listeners.
God bless you, man. Thanks. Dave Bego, dear friend, Indianapolis, Indiana, on our program every Wednesday. Thank you very much. I want to say Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. Oh, what are you waiting for? Do yourself a favor. Treat yourself a little bit. Yes, stop in for a delicious meal, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, or whether it's just for a dessert. Oh, yes, stop into America's Diner and enjoy. I mean, they have a menu that is chock full of delicious items for you to choose. whether it's breakfast with all the strawberry crepes and the breakfast skillets and the omelets and the pancakes, or whether it's lunch with the Parmesan chicken sizzling skillet. Oh, it doesn't make any difference what time it is, what meal. It's all great and delicious at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, America's Diner. Let's also remind you about some dear friends of mine over at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. And that's, of course, Let's Ride. Oh, boy. We got our four-wheelers there. We were figuring up about 11 years ago and just absolutely opened up a whole new world of fun. We've enjoyed that. And now it's snowmobile season. And they've got a showroom just chock full of all the snowmobiles. They've got here a snowmobile, there a snowmobile, there a snowmobile. They're all over the place with all the accessories, too, at Let's Ride. And they've got a super service department, too, to keep you running. Tyson and the folks are good people. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and it's true. This is where the fun is sold. In that same area, I also want to remind you, too, about our dear friends Todd and the rest of the folks at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. I mean, they work tirelessly to make sure that you're taken care of, whether it's life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more. They're dedicated and very accessible to help you. Call them, make an appointment, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Good people. One final note before we go to our guest that's sitting there chomping on the bed. I want to remind you your home is the one place where everything should be perfect, including your air. Ramsey Heating and Electric helps you achieve the perfect air with the Lennox home comfort systems that'll help improve your health. Call them today, Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459, or visit the RamseysOnline.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. With all that being said, right now we're going to talk to the editor of Stansberry Newswire and Stansberry Newswire Premium. Here he is, economic market analyst Scott Garlis. Good morning, Scott. How are you?
Hey, Zeb, I'm well. How are you today?
Well, if I was any better, the wrong fat man be wearing my clothes.
I meant to ask you last time, how far are you from Nye, Montana?
From where?
Nye, Montana?
Now, if I remember correctly, Nye, Montana is in the northern, kind of central area of Montana. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. It's down. It's actually pretty close to Yellowstone, maybe.
Oh, okay, fine. Now I know where you mean.
We go out there every year to go hunt in the high country and do some cattle branding.
Well, we're probably about 6 or 7 hours away, Scott.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Listen, I wanted to have you on the program this morning, and I really wanted to pick your brain about the stock market and about what's good, bad, and ugly about being in the stock market right now with a change of administrations. But I think the lead question would be, I tell you what, I'm scared. I really am worried. I have stocks, but I'm considerably worried about a Biden-Harris administration. And I'll be honest with you, Scott, I'm thinking about dumping almost all my stocks going into 2021 because I don't see good, happy things happening. What are your thoughts?
I think that would be a bad idea.
Okay, why?
Here's why. So if you're thinking about these things, you got to think about them in terms of how is the big money looking at the situation? What are the Wall Street money managers looking at here? There's going to be a big question. One of the big questions is going to be this Senate runoff in Georgia and whether or not the Democrats can get both seats. If they can, again, there's the potential they would control, the Senate, the House, and the White House. That wouldn't necessarily be good because then you could be looking at increased taxes coming in. Right now, the expectation is that they're not going to get both of those seats. And again, if that doesn't happen, what Wall Street is looking at this is the Biden administration is going to spend more, and they look at that as making their jobs easier. So again, they see all these spending policies as economically stimulative. So what they're doing right now is they're buying up stocks in anticipation of that happening and in anticipation of an economic pickup. And that's why you're seeing the market rally like it is.
Okay, but for someone that is not nearly as intelligent about the stock market as you are, I'm just a drip in a big puddle of water, I would assume that that could be very dangerous too, because whatever goes up must eventually come down. And when we see the Dow at 30,000 and climbing, and then there's all this internal gathering of stocks and everything else, that could create havoc also.
It could, if you go back and look at it over time, there are always bumps and dips. And look, if you get to a point where you feel like, hey, things have had a great run, I've owned a bunch of stocks, I'm doing well, and you think it's time to take some money off the table because that lets you sleep better at night, that's never a bad idea. And then you can wait for a pullback to buy more or get back into some of those names. Just keep an eye out for the opportunity. They're always going to be on the horizon. The other thing, too, that helps is if the government is going to spend more, that means there is going to be a greater supply of dollars out there in the world. That is going to cheapen the dollar. So you want to make sure you have asset diversification. You want to have part of your portfolios in things like gold, like a 5% position in gold, a 5% position in something like Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, because those things, as the dollar becomes worth less, they are going to go up in value simply because they're priced in terms of the dollar. So that way, just in case you're worried about some other things not going well, you have safety assets that are going to do well in times of potential duress. When things that don't do well in duress, they go down, this helps to offset and eases some of those concerns.
Let me ask you this then. I noticed that you did not say silver, and I've made some investments in silver. Is that good, bad, or ugly as far as an investment as compared to the more high-priced gold?
You know what? I think silver is a great investment. And, my apologies, sometimes when I say gold, I mean gold and silver. I think both are great. And again, silver is going to be priced in terms of, the dollar. If the dollar is going down, that should be a good thing for the price of silver. The problem with all these easy money policies and pumping all this money into the system, if it keeps going on for years and years, at some point it becomes a problem because what's happening is people that aren't invested in stocks, gold, cryptocurrencies, whatever, they're dependent only on their income that's coming in the door. You're basically making the value of those assets that they only hold dollars, and you're making the value of the dollar go down. That does not help them, and that widens sort of that disparity between people that are invested. And so that is a good reason why you want some exposure to investments like stocks.
I would say this, and again, you're the expert, and I absolutely welcome you to have a difference of opinion. But I would say that looking ahead to a Biden and Harris administration that is hell-bent for having a complete makeover of the energy program, and they're bent on green energy, that is going to have a profound effect on the stock market, and negatively so.
So if you look at the oil and gas industry, I agree. If they are able to push through some of these plans that have been discussed, the oil and gas industry equates to 8% of total economic output in the U.S. So that's a healthy size. But I look at things too, like the housing industry. That's roughly 18% of economic output. Housing is booming right now, and it's having a great run, and I expect that to continue to happen. And that's going to fill up for the economy. Manufacturing is still doing very well. There was some data out last week from IHS Markit that showed manufacturing activity hit a 74-month high. Services activity, which includes stuff like transportation, hotels, restaurants, it's hard to believe, but that data just hit a 68-month high. There are a lot of parts of the economy that are working well. And look, we have a vaccine on the horizon, too. it got approved. Pfizer and BioNTech's vaccine got approved in the UK today. Their expectations it could be approved within a week here. So there is a time horizon when things are going to return more back to normal. And so one of the things I would say is, if you want to invest for when things are going to return back to normal, you want to be invested now and not investing when that starts to happen. Again, what happens with some of these energy policies is going to be very dependent upon this Senate race in January in Georgia.
Right.
But if the Republicans get one of the two seats, that means they'll maintain control of the Senate, and it's going to be very hard for the administration to push through aggressive energy policies, pushing green energy.
I've got to be realistic. It's not that I want to be negative, but I have to be realistic. And I look at all things on the table. And when I'm looking at right now, thanks to the COVID scare and the excessive gubernatorial powers and control in various states that have hurt a lot of businesses, right now I think there's close to 200,000 businesses that may never open their doors again. And that's a huge effect on the economy and also the stock market, is it not?
Yeah, look, we went through a similar type of experience during the financial crisis. And yes, it was, people are out of work. It is, and there are businesses that have shut their doors that will never open again. But, one of the amazing things about America is ingenuity and drive. And, a lot of those people, they recoup, they will rebound. Businesses will spring up that we never even thought of before, and they will pick back up a lot of those people that have lost work, and a lot of things will move forward. This economy will get going again. Again, the fact that there are 2 potential vaccines coming in a very short time frame, it tells me that the economy can get back to a very good place. Now, I think what is important would be this group in D.C. right now that is bipartisan group that has come forward. They're talking about doing targeted stimulus. There are a lot of these small businesses, like you said, that need help. And I think targeted stimulus would go a long way. Now, one of the things that Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell talked about yesterday was doing grants with these businesses versus loans. Granted, no one wants to see money given away, but I think we are looking at an instance here where nobody really knew how this was going to play out, what was going to happen, and those businesses do deserve things like grants that can be forgiven. It's not their fault that COVID took place. But anything that can be done to rescue those businesses, I think, is very important and essential right now.
Okay, but Scott, you have to concur with me that right now, sitting in a little black box is a total of $138 billion with a B that could be going right now to these small businesses, but the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi, as Speaker of the House, is holding out for a $4 trillion bill to help pad some of her cushy Democratic left ideas and goals. That's not right.
It's not right. I think the ball has been dropped in a major way. I think what's really unfortunate is the politics that were played going into the election. That it was all talk. Nobody wanted to do anything. They did not want to do a deal because they didn't want to hand the incumbent, a tailwind going into the election process. The problem is now, I think the Biden administration is actually a bit worried about it. I think they're pushed. Well, I don't think they're trying to push Pelosi and Schumer to do a deal, because I think they're very worried about what's going to happen in the Georgia runoff, and they're worried that if they don't do some sort of deal now, they're not going to be able to get another deal come January 20th.
There is one.
A deal could be very shortly on the horizon, but yes, I think holding out what's been done is wrong and really unfortunate.
Absolutely. There's another fly in the milk, and it's all about economic rebounding, etc., and that's China. I don't trust them. I have no use for their government. I think they are absolutely hell-bent on taking over world dominance, and they're going to do everything they can to take business away or dollars away or profit away from the United States of America. What are your thoughts on China?
I think you're correct. I don't think what's been appreciated is the long game that the White House has been playing in terms of China. So I think the White House has looked at the technology industry as a very important industry here, and they understand the dominance that the U.S. has versus the rest of the world. They also understand the margins, the employment, the revenues that are involved there. So they've been playing a long game to stop China from stealing all of our stuff. I have a buddy who ran an industrial company on the East Coast. He's retired, and he told me, he's like, look, China is a very serious threat. He said, my company saw it all the time. And the thing is, he said, if we don't deal with this now, it's only going to get worse. And what would be wrong probably is that if the Biden administration comes in and says, hey, you know what, we're going back to the way it was, I think that would be a mistake, because that's not going to fix the situation. Now, what we are seeing is with these companies that are pulling out of China, like Apple, a bunch of their suppliers just pulled more business out of China. Once they leave, they're not really coming back. It's too expensive for them to go back into China. They're building out new infrastructure all over Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Thailand. But yes, I think China is playing a very deliberate and nasty game, and I think people need to be very aware of that, and we need to stop it.
One final thought, Scott. What about markets around the globe, whether it's Japan, wherever it might be around the world? Their markets contingent upon the success of our markets. Kind of give me a real short coalition of how they come together and really rely on what's happening here.
The U.S. is 25% of the global economy. If the U.S. does badly, everybody else does badly.
Well, that's short and sweet.
That's what you asked for, right?
I'll tell you what, I certainly appreciate your coming on, Scott. You're a man that I want to keep in my file to the point where I can invite you back in the future. I hope you'll consent to do so, and I want to wish you and yours a Merry Christmas. Scott Garlis, editor of Stansberry Newswire, thank you so much.
Hey, Zeb, thanks so much for having me, and I would love to come back anytime you're interested.
I'll look forward to it. Thank you, sir. God bless. Thank you. Enjoyed the conversation, and this man really knows and lays it out in a very succinct and understandable way. Thank you very much, Scott Garlis. Appreciate that. Oh, boy, let's see, where am I going to go next? I've got so much to get done in the next little bit. I want to remind you, too, about our friends at Patterson's Electronics. It goes without saying, and I've said this 100 times before, when it comes to electronics, I know if you can plug it in and it works, voila. I don't know that much about all the different electronics. I don't know all about the power cords and the monster cables and all the installation of home theater systems and complete sound systems and car stereos and speakers and surveillance cameras and all the televisions from Samsung, Sony, Toshiba, LG TVs. Wow, they've got all of this and more at Patterson's Electronics, and they know. Absolutely. They're located at 421 East Main in Burley, and the number to call, Curtis and Lorena, 678-6997. They're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. Please work with the best that know it all. They do. I'm not bragging. That's a fact. Patterson's Electronics in Burley. Time for the weather. And the weather, holy smokes, I didn't know I was running this late this morning. The weather is brought to you by my dear, dear friends, and that's, of course, Phillips, Oakes, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And we're talking about the professionals with accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area and beyond for well over 50 years. You better believe it. The best of tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, bookkeeping services, retirement planning, all of this and so much more. And they're waiting to serve you. All you need to do is get a hold of them in their offices at Burley or Rupert. The professionals. Phillips, Oakes, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
A little chilly this morning, but as we make our way towards the afternoon, it's not going to be too bad. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Partly cloudy skies for today. We are expecting a high of about 36, and for these morning hours, be prepared to scrape your windshield. For tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 13. By Thursday, sunshine, high of 40, overnight low of 13. And as we take a sneak peek at the weekend, Looks like sunshine and highs are going to be in the low 40s. That's look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. Great job as always. And Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company can help people starting a business or maybe changing it over to a partnership or corporation, or, you want to expand and hire more employees. They've got the answers to your questions, and they can and will help you. The professionals, Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, with offices at 1710 Overland Avenue in Burley and 625th Street in Rupert. What's going on? I was going to talk about this earlier this morning, but I've got to ask, maybe somebody in the audience knows all about these monoliths. And that's a hard word to say. You got to get your tongue back up behind your teeth and say the TH, monoliths. There you go. They found one that's about 12 feet tall or more in a deserted area in Utah, in the Red Rock country, way out in the desert. And it was about, like I said, 12 feet tall, and they don't know how it got there. And then it disappeared. It's gone. It's adios. And I was talking to a good friend of mine back east in D.C., and he said, well, you haven't heard the least or the last of these monoliths because they found one over in Romania. All of you out there that are the Twilight Zone people from the 60s like I am that go doot, 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 doot. What is going on with this mystery around these monoliths that have appeared and all of a sudden disappeared in the state of Utah, and now finding some elsewhere? And these are a tall, like I said, 12 feet tall, metallic reflective structure out in the middle of nowhere in the desert. Why? Somebody give me a call if you have an answer to that, or you are a monolith editorial or whatever. Give me a call and let me know. I'd like to hear more about it. I'm going to tell you that we're going to have a little change tomorrow. And it's not a big change. It's just something that has to be done. I'm going to be gone tomorrow because it's hard to schedule doctor's appointments and everything in the afternoons and or on Friday, which is virtually impossible. And so tomorrow we're going to be taking off, and Sharon Hardy is going to be running the program tomorrow. And I'm very, very thankful for her and her effort. I want to say that. So that means right now we're going to have on this segment if you're hungry and starving to death, I know some great places to go. Oh, was that a segue or what? Don't forget the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley, and they've got all kinds of the kids' meals, with the chicken nuggets and also with the corn dogs and the fries and the drink. Oh, man, I really cater to the kids. And then, of course, too, you got to sink your grinners into one of those famous Farmer Brown burgers and then have an eggnog and pumpkin shake. Ooh, delicious at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Well, let's move on over to Taco Bandito at 2301 Overland in Burley. They've got the pumpkin empanadas. Have you had one of those? Woo! Delicious. And, of course, it's one of the great places to go in the early morning for your coffee and also to have a breakfast burrito. And then they've got the pork burritos with bean, pork, rice, sour cream cheese. Oh, it's good. The whole menu is delicious at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Moving over now to not one but two locations of Burgers Etc. 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. These are the nicest people that run these businesses for Burgers Etc. And they've got corn dogs and burritos, only $1.29. And like I said, great, helpful people serving you the delicious food at not one but two locations of Burgers Etc. in Rupert and Burley. Last but not least, let's go on over to Steve-O's Food made the way you love it at 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn. I'm drooling. I'm so hungry. They have so many tasty steaks like the tender filet, the ribeye, the sirloin, and all the other fantastic menu choices. And above all, really, really nice people serving you. You're going to love it. They're open Monday to Saturday, 11 to 9. I urge you to stop in with your friends, neighbors, family at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn. And those are some great places to go if you're hungry and starving to death, which I am. Have time for a call. Give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a holler. And one of the stories that came across my desk this morning, early, was another worry of mine. I am absolutely against abortion, and I make no bones about it. And I am very concerned as this story that came out from the Daily Caller, and it was entitled "The Dangers of Joe Biden's Extreme Abortion Agenda and the Power That It Might Give to Planned Parenthood and Others." And I've got a call. We'll talk about this later. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I just was reading something. And have you heard anything about the homeless population and how this Wuhan flu or the coronavirus is hurting them and how all of them are sick? And
yeah, and it's unfortunate, but you should see my desk, and then you'd say, oh, I understand. I had a story on that came from a good friend of mine back in D.C. yesterday, and if I were to take the time and go look for it, it might be mid-afternoon.
I've seen your desk.
Okay.
It looks like mine.
But the homeless are really suffering, and I think they are a kind of excluded worry right now.
Yeah, but you don't hear a lot about them getting sick and going to the hospital.
No, but what I mean is they're an excluded worry because everybody kind of shuffles them off and puts them on the back burner. And I would love to see somebody come out and say, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start interviewing these people. We're going to find out what their wants, their needs are, what kind of education they have, etc., why they're homeless, why can't they find a job. I mean, there's got to be something, Doug, that can be done to eliminate a very large percentage of homeless on the street.
Exactly. It's true, but I had someone I knew and I was very close to going through school and in Portland, Oregon, and this guy had a photographic memory, straight A student, and he lived on the streets of Portland for years. And I asked him, I says, why are you doing that? He says, I like it.
Oh, my goodness. How could you not like enjoying a shower once or twice a day? How could you not like having clean clothes? How could you not like crawling into a clean bed with sheets and everything? What is the matter with people saying they'd like to live on the street?
I know, and I couldn't understand it. And he says, no, he says, I'm happy. I like it. So.
Well, I got to take one more call before I go to the news. Hey, buddy, call me tomorrow. We'll talk about this. Caller, I'm only got 30 seconds. Really, really fast. Go.
Hello?
Yeah, go fast. 30 seconds. Fast.
Yeah. Okay. I hear on the news that this new vaccine is going to be offered to the prisoners before the grandparents.
No, that's an encompassing statement. Wait a minute, Keith. I got to expedite you. That's an encompassing statement that's not true across the board. There was talk in Colorado of maybe doing it, but that's not a true situation from the East Coast to the West Coast. Call me tomorrow. We'll talk more about that. Got to run, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. News next from Fox, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Welcome back. Hour number 3 on a chilly morning, but blue sky and sunshine. Zeb at the Ranch, and of course with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of tires and, of course, service. And we want to thank our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Before we go to our guest, I also want to remind you folks, of course, about Ramsey Heating and Electric, and you can achieve the perfect air in your home that you deserve with reliable, groundbreaking, award-winning Lennox products. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric and see how you can get a Lennox home comfort system that will help improve your health. Call them at 678-0459 or visit Ramsey'sOnline.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. This man has been on my program before, and I absolutely agree with everything he has said and written about. And the headline on his information sheet says, "We are at war." He is the author of the book called Blitz, Trump Will Smash the Left and Win. Good morning, David Horowitz. How are you?
Good morning.
It is a
war, but I need other people to join me.
Well, I'll tell you what, David, what can we do? I mean, we've looked at an election right now that has gone the wrong way. I will come out and publicly say again that it was illegal and illicit the way it came out. What are your thoughts?
It's transparently a fraud. Unless you believe that not Barack Obama, that Joe Biden got 16 million more votes than Barack Obama did when he first ran. There's so many. The Spectator had a really good article on so many inexplicable happenings in this election, unless there's fraud. So, it's like Joe Biden ran behind Hillary in every major city in America except for 4. Guess which 4? Atlanta, Philadelphia, Detroit, and Milwaukee, the battleground states. So you have to believe in magic to believe that Joe Biden won a fair election.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this, David. Where are we right now? Here we are going into another embattlement with the Senate races in Georgia coming up in January that may get...
declared war on us, patriotic Americans, and our country when they formed a resistance to Trump's presidency, when they took down General Flynn over nothing, his national security advisor, and when they began, the 3-year impeachment over nothing. That's a declaration of war. That hasn't happened since the Civil War. Our whole political system is based on compromise, on agreeing to the self-discipline of letting elections decide results. When you lose an election, you don't go into the streets with muskets. You wait for the next election and organize to win that one. That's our system. The Democrats violated, attacked, broke faith with that system in 2016. The Republicans are too damn polite and don't say things like that. Democrats committed treason. They colluded. They're the ones actually who colluded with the Russians to cook up this fake dossier on Trump and try to impeach him on the basis of it. And they're the ones who are responsible for the special prosecutor. I mean, Trump was a kind of a novice when he got into the White House and didn't realize that he had so many enemies. So the Democrats declared war on our country then, and stealing an election is war too. They're arrogant. They're a bunch of racists. Identity politics is racism, where you judge people. They're squabbling now over whether the Secretary of Defense should be a black or female. For crying out tears. How dumb is that? How stupid and anti-American is that? They don't care about the security of the country. If they did, they would applaud Trump for taking out whoever did it. We don't know who actually did it. But the taking out of the head of the Iran's nuclear program. After all, the Iranian mullahs chant death to America. I mean, how transparent do you have to be? They're our enemies. And Barack Obama tried to give them a path to nuclear weapons. He gave them $150 billion on pallets in the middle of the night, unmarked bills, so they could carry on their terrorism. We know who Barack Obama is. He's a traitor, just like Brennan. But Republicans are too damn nice. What Kevin McCarthy, when he's confronted with this, I mean, after all, they call Trump a traitor, a racist, a white supremacist, everything in the book, incompetent, stupid, whatever, a Hitler. That's how the Democrats talk. And what does Kevin McCarthy say? Oh, the Democrats are just playing politics. They're not playing, Kevin. They're trying to kill us. When you call somebody a racist, you're trying to erase them. Everybody knows that. That's why they walk around on eggshells when it comes. Just take Black Lives Matter, the biggest lynch mob in the history of the country. They want the verdict before there's a trial or even an investigation.
That's right.
And they said George Floyd was racially murdered when one of the cops has been charged with the murder is black. How does that compute? It doesn't.
Let me ask you this, David. In your approaches to politics, do you believe, like I do, that the Biden administration, if it is in effect, it's going to be totally controlled behind the scenes by Barack Obama?
Yeah, with the Chinese behind him. Come on. This is not America's under siege in the whole world. People, most of the world is dictatorships. Most of the world hates America because it stands for freedom and it stands in the way of their criminal designs on other people's, particularly China. China's an imperialist country. After all these voting machines came from Venezuela, they were designed on commission from Hugo Chavez to create a voting machine, the Dominion machines, and a Smartmatic software, where he couldn't lose an election. Of course, he wants to hold elections to pretend. They don't want to pretend that they're people's democracies when they're fascist dictatorships. But leave it to the Democrats to cut a deal with that company.
Let me ask you this. In your book, you discuss about the war on Christianity. I'm a proud Christian. I say so on my program every day, and I see many, many inroads by the Democrats and the left to destroy my faith and weaken the ability to even portray my faith.
Destroy Christian America. I wrote a book, from my previous book, to Blitz's Dark Agenda.
Yes.
Destroy Christian America. I call it Christian. I'm an agnostic Jew myself, but I understand that America is a Christian country. It's every freedom that Americans cherish, every value, equality, liberty, tolerance, inclusion. They're all originated as Christian ideas. They're all basic ideas of the Protestant Reformation is what they are. And this country was found 98% of the people who settled this country were Protestant Christians. The rest were mainly Catholics, actually. There were some Jews and others. But who created this country were God-fearing Christians. That's the reality, and that's why the left hates Christianity. And I hate it when people on the right call these people liberals, when they're vindictive bigots. Mm-hmm. Vindictive bigots is what describes them. The LGBTQ lobby is a fascist lobby that is persecuting Christians all across this country. And they need to be called out for doing it. Stop, this victim crap where, you're oppressed. So that gives you a license to hate. These people hate Christians, hate them. Look at what they did, to the Colorado baker. I think he's still having problems with these idiots. Yes. He was willing. They want to erase your ideas, your beliefs. That's so fundamentally anti-American. These are anti-American fascists. The Human Rights Campaign, it's called. And actually, they're responsible for the unnecessary deaths of 500,000 gays in the 80s because they destroyed the public health system. You couldn't have contact tracing. You couldn't have testing to see who had AIDS. They got the government under Everett Koop, the Surgeon General, to conduct a $100 million campaign saying that AIDS was an equal opportunity virus. It wasn't. There never was an epidemic among heterosexuals because the main transmission of AIDS, and forgive me for saying this on the air, but was passive anal sex. I did a lot of writing about the AIDS epidemic. So they destroyed the public health system. They didn't close the sex houses where the disease was spread in the name of political correctness and social justice. And they got 500,000 young, healthy gay males dead. And then, there's nothing that will stop them. But people have to stop being so nice. If you're a true Christian, you're probably, I can't speak for Christians, but you ought to be tolerant of gays, whatever. We're all sinners one way or another. You have to have a little Christian charity. But that doesn't mean you have to blind yourself when these gays want to stamp you out.
That's right.
Why are they attacking Mike Pence? Mike Pence he's a gracious Christian. You look with that jerk, Pete Buttigieg, this bigot, Mayor Pete. When he came out with his husband, Mike Pence went out of his way to say he was a great mayor, which was not true. He's a very bad mayor. It was very gracious of him, and this guy turned around and attacks Mike Pence. Why? Because Mike Pence won't give up his Christian ideas.
That's right.
That is so anti-American what these people on the left are about. They want to destroy America's freedoms. Beginning with it's the First Amendment.
That's right.
Religious freedom.
David, let me ask you this.
The thing is the free expression.
Absolutely.
The First Amendment guarantees that the state will not establish a religion as the official religion, mm-hmm. and two, that you can express your religious conscience. And that's the war now. They want to shut every Christian up.
David, what about the media? I want you to take some time and talk about the media and how we can correct it.
Democrats. They're against the Electoral College, which is in the Constitution. They don't have a real argument against it. They just call it racist. They're against having borders. They're against the election day. They want you to be able to vote for months in advance, and they count the votes for weeks afterwards, which just opens the floodlights to election fraud. They want to pack the Supreme Court. They want to abolish the Senate. These aren't Americans. Today's Democrat Party is an anti-American party.
That's right.
And people need to call them out for it. The Democrats have no compunction about calling Republicans traitors. They do it all the time and every day.
Well, David,
betrayed the Constitution. No, he didn't. Nancy Pelosi did. But you don't find a lot of Republicans saying that.
Absolutely. David, real quick, I want you to talk about the media specifically as perpetrating the leftist ideals that they're trying to put forth. They're very biased. How are we going to clean this up?
We don't have a free press anymore. We have propagandists for the Democrat Party, which is a communist party. They just want to enforce an orthodoxy. They want to shut down any information that contradicts, undermines, puts holes in the Democrat lies. Well, look, Trump is not a... Look, you can see it all in Trump. For 30 years before he descended that elevator in Trump Tower and announced his candidacy, Donald Trump was one of the best-known Americans. Everybody in America knew who Donald Trump was. Nobody ever introduced him as, this is Donald Trump, the host of The Apprentice and a white supremacist. Nobody would have thought, you think somebody's crazy for saying that. Yet the minute he opposed the Democrat Party, they're calling him a racist. They're liars, and their political tactics are very familiar from the fascists and the communists. They're not Democrats with a small d at all. They want a one-party state.
Real quick before I have to let you go, I'm almost out of time, but tell me a little bit.
Kamala Harris, who might be the next president of the United States, called for the deplatforming to shut up, deplatforming the president of the United States. They want Trump talking to his 50 million people who follow him on Twitter. Now, how un-American is that?
Absolutely.
How does Kamala Harris hold her head up in public? She does so because Republicans are pussies. They won't use the language of war that the Democrats use.
Absolutely. David, quickly, tell everybody about your book, Blitz, Trump Will Smash the Left and Win. Where can it be obtained, and how are the sales going?
You can get it anywhere. You can get it in Target and in Sam's Club and on Amazon. You can get it anywhere. It's a book about the war that we're in and are going to be in for the next few decades.
Absolutely.
Is what it's about. And I was right. Trump did win.
I absolutely agree with you, and I thank you for coming on. Conservative commentator David Horowitz in his book called Blitz, Trump Will Smash to the Left and Win. Thank you for being on the program this morning. Thank you so much. Well, that was interesting, and we'd want to thank David Horowitz for coming. We've had Mr. Horowitz on the program before, and it's a little hard to get a word in edgewise, but we did. And actually, I was kind of happy that he went along and explained his various policies and thoughts on the media, and also about the problems with the Democrats and how they have organized their attack against the right, and especially the election with Donald Trump. And so I do thank him, Mr. David Horowitz. And as I said, we've had him on before. He's a New York Times best-selling author of Blitz, Trump Will Smash the Left and Win. That was interesting. Okay, now, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. When you have people on the air, and you got to put yourself in my place a little bit, and Sean over at the main studio, and they go on and on and on, and you think they're just about ready to set up the end of a sentence so that you can chime in and ask another question, and then they roll on to a different venue. So it's a little bit tough, let me tell you. Let's see, what else have I got to tell you about? Oh, Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More with Jeff and the rest of the crew at 459 Overland in Burley. They've got new furniture coming in every single day. As a matter of fact, they keep the back door open because here comes a truck, there comes another truck, here a truck, there a truck. And believe me, they've got a great selection of everything at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Whether it is your dining room sets, whether it's your bedroom sets, whether it's your sofas, sectionals, whether it's your recliners, whether it's your floor coverings, your carpet, your window coverings, woo! The list goes on and on. And I urge you to stop in and visit with the people that can help you with the comfortization and the beautification of your home. You're going to be spending a lot of time in there the next couple of months, so please stop in and see Jeff and the rest of the great crew at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. 459 Overland in Burley. Wow. Calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927 4587. Give me a jingle on the landline, and I'd love to visit with you. I got time for about one or two calls. Quickly, give me a jingle. And I had mentioned a little bit before we had David Horowitz on the program that Joe Biden and his administration scare me because I am absolutely anti-abortion. And it looks like by all indications that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have really taken on the complexion of being and leaning on the extreme left on issues like abortion, contrary to the will of the overwhelming majority of Americans. And it looks like, and I even made some notes on this piece of paper that you would probably be very interested in, Joe Biden has promised, listen to this, this really makes me teed off. Joe Biden has promised to force the Little Sisters of the Poor to provide abortion-inducing drugs in their health plans. They went to court over this because they found it so offensive. But now Biden's going to try to overturn everything and force the Little Sisters of the Poor to provide abortion-inducing drugs in their health plans. And look out for much more money going to Planned Parenthood. I mean, much more in the name of millions and millions of dollars. And it looks like first on the list of executive orders is the reinstatement of our money, our taxpayer money, funding to groups that promote abortions even overseas. One of the many nails that I hope is in the coffin of the Biden and Harris administration. Absolutely, I have no respect for these people whatsoever. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I would like to take a little bit of time here and just explain again that I will not be on the program tomorrow. I've asked my dear, dear friend, Sharon Hardy, to take over the show. It has been increasingly difficult to try to schedule doctor's appointments for both Deanne in her recovery and myself, just on afternoons and possibly on Fridays. Well, a lot of doctors' offices and doctors, etc., are not in their office on Friday, and so we've had to take appointments when and if they are available. And so I've asked Sharon to come on tomorrow morning and handle the bulk of the Thursday programming, whether it's the Chamber Report, and I understand that Lyden Crane is going to be on there tomorrow morning, and other items, the Cache County School Days, and much, much more. So I thank her. She does a wonderful job, and give her a call and support her if you would, please. Right now, we're going to send this back over to our main studios, and before I go over there with Sean, I want to remind everybody to stay tuned. I've got a gentleman coming on the program in the next 30 minutes that's the Director of Environmental Policy for upstate Michigan, and that's Jason Hayes, and he's going to tell you some stuff about that Governor Whitmer that'll just absolutely curl your hair. Stay tuned.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
I've been really excited about having this next gentleman on our program because he's going to be talking about an area back in the Midwest where I used to every summer go up fishing, and that's in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And I say good morning to the Director of Environmental Policy for the Mackinac Center in Michigan, Jason Hayes. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Well, you can cut out the sir. Just call me Zeb, and we'll get along just fine, Jason. It's good to have you on the program.
Thanks for inviting me.
Tell me a little bit about, I love that area of the country. I was born and raised in southern Wisconsin, and I had relatives where every summer I'd go up to Escanaba and Gladstone up in that area, and I just love the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Great, beautiful area of our United States. But you've got a governor back there that absolutely is on a power play, and that's Governor Whitmer. What is she doing or possibly thinking of doing to the Upper Peninsula as far as the people that live there?
Well, the most recent thing that she's doing, and the thing that we wrote this report about, is she has recently revoked the easement, which is the contract that allows a company to run a major pipeline that goes between the upper and the lower peninsula of Michigan, and it provides a good-sized chunk of the energy that is used in Michigan and in the surrounding region. So she's going to make it harder for people in the area to get and use energy, whether it's for heating or transportation or whatever, but it's just making it difficult to use energy.
Well, now, what is the reason for this? I mean, I absolutely am scared to death, and I'll be very honest with you, Jason, that this new supposed administration with Biden and Harris, and with the appointment of John Kerry as the so-called energy czar, I'm afraid that we're going to be going absolutely down the drain economically with energy that is unaffordable. Why is she trying to do this? What's the reason?
Well, the reason that she has said is, first off, she wants to protect the waters of the Great Lakes, and possibly from an oil spill. And then, secondly, she has also just recently passed an executive directory an executive director in the state of Michigan that will force the state to go to net zero CO2 emissions by 2050. So she's doing it for environmental reasons, but the reality is that the company that operates the pipeline has already said that they are willing to spend $500 million of their own dollars, it won't cost the taxpayers a penny, to put the pipeline in a cement-lined tunnel 100 feet beneath the bed of the Great Lakes. So we've already got an opportunity to take the pipeline out of the water and protect the waters of the Great Lakes at the same time as you protect the central energy infrastructure. But the governor is basically saying, that doesn't matter, we're going to close the pipeline anyway.
Okay, but let's talk about the initial cost. I got to go to the bottom line all the time in various stories because this is going to be horrific for the people that live there. How are they going to get their heat and their energy if it's not easily supplied by this pipeline?
Yeah, and what happens with the pipeline is the company ships natural gas liquids to refineries in the region. They produce propane, and then the propane gets shipped back into Michigan and is used by around 330,000 households every day in the state of Michigan. So when you take away that ability to use propane or make it much more expensive, then you restrict access there. So what they have said is, well, you could do other things. Like you could electrify your house and go to use an electric water heater or an electric furnace or something like that. But in the report that I wrote with Isaac Orr from the Center of the American Experiment based out of Minnesota, we looked at that and said, essentially it's going to be $20,000 to $25,000 for the average house in the UP to electrify, to rip out their existing furnace and their existing water heater. So spend $20,000 to $25,000 doing that. And then every year you're going to spend an additional $3,400 to $3,900 on raising your electricity rates, because the people in the UP pay electricity rates right now that are higher even than what they pay in California. So it's just a huge amount of money that's going to be going out of these people's pockets.
Well, I'm just going to come right out and say that if anybody has ever spent a winter back in the Midwest, be it Wisconsin or the UP of Michigan, it gets, and I'm going to be very polite about this, doggone cold. And with rolling blackouts, depending upon electricity, you're going to have some really chilly people back there.
Yes, exactly. We're rapidly going, like our big utilities are shutting down all the reliable, large, affordable electricity generation, like one of our nuclear plants, all of our coal, and a bunch of our natural gas. And they're trying to go, in Michigan, they're going to wind and solar. And it's, I mean, if you've ever been in Michigan in the winter, it's cloudy and it's snowy. So the solar aspect may not work very well, but that's the plan. And so that's what people here will be relying on at the same time as they're cutting out and making it more difficult to get a hold of propane.
You know, Jason, come on. I really appreciate your coming on the program, but let's cut to the chase here. What can the people do? I mean, this is absolutely against the first three words of our Constitution that say, we the people. Where are the people? Why aren't they outraged? Why aren't they marching on the governor's home with a pitchfork? I mean, this is ridiculous.
Well, it's one of those things where people definitely need to get educated and get involved. They should be writing letters or calling their elected officials. They should be writing letters to the editor and saying, hang on, this is a bad idea. We've got reports that are explaining what are the costs to do this kind of thing, especially when we've got a company that's willing to deal with the environmental aspect. Again, nobody wants to spill an oil spill in the Great Lakes. No, I mean, nobody. So we've all looked at it and said, okay, well, the other option is to put the pipeline in the tunnel beneath the Great Lakes. That solves the environmental question. And at the same time, doing that helps with the economic question. How do we keep providing people with affordable, reliable, abundant energy? And I mean, especially in times when people are out of work because of COVID and lockdowns and that sort of thing, to suggest, as I've said before, I mean, it's just a death by 1,000 cuts. It's constantly piling, another expense, another problem on top of these people. I mean, these are regular people who are just trying to pay their bills, live their lives. There's no reason to be doing this. So, yeah, those people should be writing letters to the editors.
Well,
they should be calling their elected officials and saying, please don't do this.
Yeah, but Jason, you know as well as I do that the American public, they do the letters and they do the calls and they get nothing but lip service or a form letter in return from their so-called politicians that enjoy wearing the three-piece suits and the wingtip shoes, and they really don't get any results. I am, and I'm going to say this specifically, damn mad at the way the people in this country are being treated. We have a perfect energy system in this country. We are energy independent and we are the world leader, and we're going to try to revocate that, get rid of it with a new administration, and people are going to freeze, people are going to die, all in foolishness.
Yeah, you hope it never comes to that point where people are stuck in the cold and dark, but you have California as a good example this summer and last summer of what happens when you base your energy system on unreliable options. You have rolling blackouts, and a rolling blackout when it's 90 degrees in California is one thing, it's uncomfortable, but a rolling blackout at negative 15 in the UP is something completely different. And again, I hope it never gets to the point where you have people whose their lives literally are put in danger, but that's where we're headed. So again, people should be getting involved, and they should be, come to our website, download my report, read it, and get yourself educated, because this stuff actually does matter.
Jason, have you lived in Michigan all your life?
No, I've lived in quite a few different places. In Arizona, I grew up in Canada. I worked in northern British Columbia as a forester, so I've been in even colder places. And, yeah, I know what cold is like.
Well, I just can't imagine the cost factor. I want to get back to that a little bit. You said that initially it could cost these people in the UP between $20,000 and $25,000 to renovate their homes and go the green energy route, and then an additional $3,500 or so dollars per year. I mean, most American families right now, with all the heinous things that have happened because of COVID and everything else, trying to raise a family on extremely increasing cost basis, how can they ever afford something like that?
That's the exact question that we ask in this report. Because, the other options that are put out, they say, well, possibly you could go to natural gas. But you're looking at hundreds of millions of dollars to run pipelines in rural areas. Where there's just not the population to support that sort of thing. But, anybody who's built a new home knows that running a gas line from an existing pipeline from the road allowance to your house is $3,000 plus. So if you even had the natural gas option, it still is that expensive. It's just one of those things that, like I said, It's death by 1,000 cuts, and it's just constantly hammering these people. And then the other thing that they often say is, well, what we'll do is we'll put together, it's what Joe Biden just recently said. We're here to help you, and it's what Reagan warned us about. The scariest words that people will ever hear is, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help you." But that's what is brought up is, well, we'll put together kind of almost like welfare programs to help people pay for their energy. You know exactly what people who are from rural economies and rural areas are like. They don't want help. They want to work.
That's right.
To provide for themselves and their family. They don't need a government program. They want to be able to do for themselves. But yet when you're seeing these kind of regulations that close off opportunity, they lock down the state because of coronavirus, they take out available energy options and leave them with only the most expensive and the least reliable options, people are stuck. And really, they don't have a lot of other options. It's just, again, it's bad energy policy, and we shouldn't be going down this road.
Jason, I'm going to say something here, and if you don't agree with me, tell me, but I absolutely look at this situation with the people in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and I think they are pawns that are being used by the left to remove them from the land and possibly force them into larger communes or communities and turn it into a green area. I see this as a part of the tyranny that's going on all over the country.
Well, I know that they've talked about that sort of thing for years. I remember going to school and hearing about the rewilding idea. So it's not the first time I've heard it. But, I mean, really people, if you look at the Green New Deal as an example, really what they're trying to do is go to this renewable energy idea. And it's, even if they say it's okay for people to stay in rural communities instead of being in larger cities or whatever, they still are making decisions for people who are thoroughly capable of doing that on their own. They're trying to say, look, we know better than you do how to live your life and how you should be choosing to, should you live in a big city or should you live outside of the city? They want to make those decisions for them, definitely.
Absolutely.
Should you use green energy, renewable energy, or should you use more reliable nuclear and natural gas?
Absolutely.
Those kind of things. And definitely they want to make those decisions for them.
Jason, we have a caller with a question. Quickly, caller. I'm down to the last couple of minutes. Go, please.
Yeah, two quick questions. One is, what does UP stand for? Because I tuned in a little late. And the second question is, isn't this whole idea of green energy forcing people off of propane and gas and other options for their utilities going to force people back to burning wood in their furnaces and their fireplaces that they have there? Has the government set up any rules there yet on how to regulate that?
It's good questions, and thank you for your call. And I might tell the caller that the Upper Peninsula, UP, is what we refer to up north in Michigan, the UP. Jason, answer the question about the wood burning. That was a very well-stated question. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, absolutely. That is what people will do. If you can't rely on your electricity system to provide heat because it's too expensive or it's unreliable, and you're no longer allowed or able to access propane, again, because it's unreliable or it's too expensive, sure, you're going to go out in the back 40 and cut down a tree. And so then you run into the next challenge of, okay, well, how many trees should we cut? And then, are you permitted and allowed to do firewood cutting and those sorts of things? It's just, again, you're restricting people at every step of the track, and it's just making people have a difficult time living their life, and there's really no need for it.
Is there any approach to Governor Whitmer, or is the only thing that you're hoping and praying for is that she gets voted out of office?
Well, the people will have to make that decision when they vote. And, Barack Obama said it, elections have consequences. So if people across the state of Michigan or elsewhere choose to bring in people that are proposing these policies, then I mean, it seems like a bad idea to me to put in policies that deliberately restrict access to energy and make it more expensive. And that's why we're writing these reports and saying, regardless of what party you vote for, people should be trying to encourage, individual liberties and freedom and the things that made this country great. So in whatever party you happen to be a member of or support, you should be telling the people that are running for positions in that power that, we need to get back to some basics in this country and remember what actually helped this country become successful.
I'll say it, you don't have to. I look at Governor Whitmer as one more of the power-monger dictators like Cuomo and Newsom and herself and others that are using and utilizing some of these problems to really put themselves on the throne instead of helping their people.
Yeah, and again, this is something that the voters have to get out and say, look, we agree with this or we don't agree with this. And to the extent that all of us use energy, we should be pushing all of our elected officials of any party to promote affordable, reliable, abundant energy.
Absolutely.
And people are concerned about climate change or pollution or something like that. Well, natural gas that's domestically produced is one of the key reasons that the United States has cleaner air and is reducing its greenhouse gas emissions more than any other industrialized country on the planet. We're actually achieving a lot of those goals using market-based means, and we should continue doing that. For people that are worried about climate change, why are we shutting down nuclear plants? We should be building more of them. Nuclear is, as clean can get. And it's also the safest form of electricity that we have. So, I question whether people are serious about environmental issues when they don't support the use of nuclear energy and they don't support the use of natural gas. Really, I'm not convinced that they're serious about environmental concerns.
Jason, I've never met you, but I want to extend a hand through the radio of well wishes and a Merry Christmas to you and all you're trying to do. I love the area of the Upper Peninsula, the UP of Michigan. It's one of my favorite spots, and I tell you what, I've got 30 seconds for another call, and then I'm going to have to let you go. Caller, real quick, fast, go.
Yes, we have Idaho Power and Idaho Public Utility Commission, and they are shutting down 2 coal-fired power plants that are totally updated, totally clean, and in one place in Wyoming, right next to the coal is natural gas. It's just a natural occurring thing, and instead of switching the plant over to natural gas, they're going to close it because they think they're being environmentally conscious or whatever. I know they're getting heat from somewhere, but this is in Idaho. Oh, hang up.
Let me say this, Jason, about the caller and his comment. I have invited Idaho Power on my program numerous times to come on and discuss their switch over to green energy, and I'm going to say this, they're cowards. They will not talk about it on my program.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. They're doing the same across the country. Big utilities in Michigan, for example, are closing down all of the large baseload reliable plants and going to wind and solar. And again, Michigan in the winter is cloudy and cold. Solar's not producing. So you close down a nuclear plant and say that you're worried about climate change. Again, I don't think you're serious.
I really want to thank you, Jason, and I wish you the very best of luck, and I hope you'll come back on our program. You're a very nice gentleman, Director of Environmental Policy at the Mackinac Center, Jason Hayes. God bless you and Merry Christmas. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You too, Jeff.
Thank you. Very nice man, and just stories like this just make me want to clench my fist. I'm sorry, I get so frustrated as to the stupidity and the power-mongering of the left dictating to people how they must suffer. Calm down, Zebber. Great place to go eat. Edith's Cafe, and they're located at 144 East Highway 81 in Burley. They're open Tuesdays through Thursdays, 11 to 8, Fridays and Saturdays, 11 to 9, and I'm talking good eating. Everything, all the sandwiches, all the way to the steak dinners, and I mean, they do catering, and if you call ahead at 878-2248, that number again, 878-2248, you can stay right in your car and call in the order, and they'll run it out to you. I mean, these are really, really nice people at Edith's Cafe. Again, located at 144 East Highway 81 in Burley, right across from the golf course, and the number to call for great food, 878-2248. Woo! We got to run quickly to the weather forecast brought to you by Scarro's Meats. Don Scarrow and his wonderful staff at 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657, or go to the website, scarrowsmeats.com. Check out all the smoked turkeys and the prime rib and the hams and the gift boxes for Christmas giving. Great idea at Scarro's Meats. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
A little chilly this morning, but as we make our way towards the afternoon, it's not going to be too bad. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Partly cloudy skies for today. We are expecting a high of about 36, and for these morning hours, be prepared to scrape your windshield. For tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 13. By Thursday, sunshine, high of 40, overnight low of 13. And as we take a sneak peek at the weekend, looks like sunshine and highs are going to be in the low 40s. And that's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And the weather brought to you by Don Scarrow and Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Delicious. Yes, that's right. They're changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time at Scarrow's Meats. Our main and major sponsor we want to give a great big shout out to, and that's your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations with the best in tires, all the different tread designs, and all the sizes for all vehicles. You better get in there today. We're not going to be enjoying all these dry roads for long. You can bet on that. Get ready for the muck, the yuck, the ice, the snow, everything. Stop in and see your friends at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. The best in brake service, highly trained technicians, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries. Make sure you got a good battery, please. Stop in and see James and Buell, Dan on Pole Line in Twin Falls, Lane and Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, the Twist family over in Paul, howdy, how are you? And my buddy Trent on Overland in Burley. I said it, they're the best, and they are your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Our Bible verse for today is very fitting from Proverbs 28, verse 2. When there is moral rot within a nation, its government topples easily, but with honest, sensible leaders, there is stability. We're going to be back next Monday. Sharon's going to carry the ball tomorrow on the program, and we'll see you Monday then at 8:06. The way things were, the way things ought to be. And, of course, the 4 words that mean the most to me: in God we trust. Adios. Have a good weekend. Zeb at the Ranch. Take care.